welcome to my tiny kitchen. 2020 has sucked. I think we can all agree with that. I have zero motivation to do any kind of makeup, so you get baking instead. Most of this is not my creation. One of them is from my mum. So I've stolen most of them, you know. But I make no money out of this anyway, so. So anyway, if you want to see how to create this food, let's get started. This is how I am currently filming. So, hence the no tripod for the intro. But you know, it works. Kinda. First recipe we're going to be making is intestine cinnamon rolls. We all like to think we have tons of time before Halloween, but it creeps up on us and then we're scrambling. So these recipes I've tried to make as easy as possible. I'm using Pillsbury Grand cinnamon bun dough for this. Because honestly, who has time to make cinnamon buns from scratch? Don't forget to grease the pan beforehand. I'm just taking the dough and overlapping the strips. I'm using 2 cans for this, but if you have a smaller pan, one will work just fine. To help the dough look more red, I'm mixing melted butter with red food coloring. I'm just brushing it on and trying to get into all the little cracks. Also, be sure to remove any kittens that jump on the counter looking for snacks. I baked this according to the baking instructions on the package, and just kept an eye on it just to make sure it wasn't overcooking. Once it's finished, I took the icing it came with and added red food coloring to it. The icing came out like hot pink, but once I drizzled it on and it melted, it actually looked pretty gross, in a good way. I cut a piece and enjoyed. Or, if you prefer, rip it off like a zombie. Next is my mother's recipe that she definitely stole from somewhere. It's called Knife and Fork Tacos, which is a terrible name because it doesn't use knives or forks to eat this, and it's not a taco. It's essentially just a thick, basic chili, covered in cheese and eaten with tortilla chips. You can also add all kinds of veggies to this on top. For this, I'm keeping it very basic because my boyfriend is a child that doesn't like vegetables. But feel free to add any vegetables. I'm first browning about a pound of ground beef and draining it. Then adding a can of tomato sauce. I chopped about 2 cloves of garlic, but measure that with your heart. I added a buttload of chili powder and onion powder to taste. You can also just use real onions, but I was out. At this point, I took some out for my boyfriend because he doesn't even like beans in his chili. I know, he's a monster. So after I took some of his out, I added the kidney beans and let that cook for a little while for all the flavors to get to know each other. When everything is good and cooked, dish it out in a bowl and top with cheddar cheese. I let it melt, and then I cut up a tortilla shell and made a little jack-o'-lantern smile. Then use tortilla chips to eat it. Or if you prefer, a spoon. But maybe let it cool down first. I literally burnt my mouth eating this. Next is the world's easiest recipe, mummy dogs. You've probably seen this done before, but it's a great meal. I made these for a Halloween party and they were gone before I could even sit down. I'm not lying. Now my friends ask me to make it every single Halloween party. It's insanely easy. You just need Pillsbury crescent rolls and hot dogs. I had a little issue when I went to grab the crescent rolls though. Someone just couldn't wait and exploded in my fridge. I had no idea how long it was like that, but it was super hard on the edge. Thankfully, I had extra. I spread out the rolls and then cut them into strips with a pizza cutter. The strips don't need to be perfect. Then just take a hot dog and wrap the strips around the dog. Then take another strip and go the opposite way. Put them on an ungreased baking sheet and cook like you normally would crescent rolls. Serve with ketchup or mustard. You can also cut the hot dogs in half and have mini mummy dogs. Finally is Hocus Pocus Book Brownies. I'm using a box brownie mix, but you can make this from scratch if you'd like. It doesn't change the outcome. I'm baking according to the package and letting them cool completely before decorating. Once cooled, I'm cutting them down to the shape of a book. With chocolate icing or a dark chocolate, if you prefer, I'm adding the spine details, the corner flourishes, and a circle for the eye. Because of course our book can't be missing an eye. I swear I had candy googly eyes, but for the life of me I could not find them. So I just mixed up a little bit of white icing and then added a little dot of chocolate icing for the pupil. Not quite as good as a candy one, but it does the trick. And that's it. I hope you enjoyed this little detour from Makeup Land. This was a lot of fun to make and delicious to eat.